Hi everyone. Hope you're all doing good. Okay, so this is the second round draw for the 38th edition of the Tapology Lucky Bastard Game. In the first round, we started with 43 people, and it was quite a low rate of elimination from the wheel in that first week, and we are now left with 26 people, which is more than average for a second round. So let's just remind ourselves who those 26 remaining lucky bastards are. They are Ayla Asaf and AZ, Baron von Rattus, Boom Shakalaka, Calfoth, Canhaga Ruiz, C. Collins 44, Chimps Mac, D1, D4, K10, Damien Handel 420, Foghorn Sam, Grahamon, It's Your Boy SB, Jack Soto, Jordan and Pippin, of course, the All American Alliance between QQQ, and Spockling, KK Kombu, Knife Rusty, Love Song, our reigning defending Tapology Lucky Bastard Game champion Shats made it through to the second round. Let's see if he can go all the way and defend his title. The Dirty UFC Man, the Matchmaker, the MMA Historian, Trail, Trig, Trostradamus, the second of our three alliances. All three alliances in this game actually made it through the first round, which is might be the first time that's ever happened. I'm not sure. Probably. Trostradamus, of course, Tros and Costradamus. Uh, the all German alliance between Ubermatch and Schwer Industry, forming Uber Industry. And finally, Vazk 88. So they are the 26 remaining lucky bastards. And for this round, we have UFC Fight Night Manel Cape versus Kyoji Horiguchi. And these two have actually met before in the cage, or well, ring rather, actually, because it was in Rising. Um, and back in 2017, it was on their 2018 New Year's Eve show. And in that one, Horiguchi won by head and arm choke in the third round. Uh, is that going to be the same? I don't really think we can draw too many parallels from that, given that that was in 2017. So that, eve of New Year's 2018. So 8.5, 9 years ago now. So that's a long time ago, especially in terms of MMA. Having said that, I'm still expecting Horiguchi to have the upper hand in this. Manel Cape, raw knockout power. And he can last the distance, but it does usually go against him. He has lost quite a few fights by decision. Horiguchi, for me, the more well-rounded fighter. Again, of course, he has knockout power as well. Maybe slightly less so than I'd say Cape, but still more than enough to end a fight at any moment. And on the ground, it's just better as well. And if it goes the distance, again, I think he's got that sort of game management to be able to uh he's got a style that pleases the judges more than Cape's uh all power approach sometimes does. And so for that I'm going to go with Horiguchi to win again for the second time. This time though by decision rather than by a submission. But we'll see how that all plays out. But you're not here to listen to my predictions. You're here to see who you're going to get paired with in the Lucky Bastard game. So let's start this thing. Let's get on with it. And first up is A. Let's see who A is going to be drawn with. And A gets Luana Santos. Luana Santos there for A. And Luana Santos. There we go. And second fight on the card against Carol Rosa. I've picked Carol Rosa to win by decision, admittedly. So although it is, I'd say, not the worst pick you could have got, but Carol Rosa should be a sizable favourite for this one, in my opinion. Um, Santos, again, not bad credentials at all. 10-2 in MMA, 5-1 in the UFC, respectable 2-1 in the LFA as well, and um, mostly a submission threat from Santos. And it's uh, the trouble is, I just don't think that's something that's going to trouble Carol Rosa too much, given how more experienced Rosa is. I just don't see what Santos brings to the fight that Carol Rosa hasn't already seen before numerous times in her career. Um, Rosa normally goes the distance in her fight, maybe not as quite a gun ho approach as maybe Santos does, and but it works and it's very effective as well. And I can just see a case where Rosa shuts out Santos for most of the fights, and yeah, if Santos is going to win, it will be by submission. But that is all dependent on her trying to find that gap to get a choke or a lock in. But I don't really see Rosa giving her that opportunity. So I've got Rosa by decision. Um, so yeah, I think Abe's going to need a little bit of luck here if he's going to see the third round. Okay, so we move on to Baron von Rattus. Let's see who the wheel is going to pick for Baron von Rattus. And he gets Hyder Emil for Baron von Rattus. And he's in what I like to unofficially refer to as the tertiary main events, the third one from the top after behind the main and co-main, against Christian Rodriguez. One of quite a few featherweight clashes on this card. Interestingly enough, I'm not sure if that's a deliberate thing or not, but yeah, it does seem to be quite a few featherweight fights. Again, this one I have also picked his opponent, Christian Rodriguez, to win by decision. And it's mostly because neither Christian Rodriguez or Hydra and Mill have exactly set the UFC alight during their tenure in the promotion, it has to be said. But Rodriguez has been around there longer, and to me, looks the more, suppose, secure fighter, in terms of his position being secure in the UFC, that is. Uh, just maybe fractionally above Emil in terms of in terms of his ability and all round game. Uh, Emil normally a knockout artist, so you can never rule out knockout artists with this sort of power that always goes around looking for knockouts. Quite patient one by comparison though, because he normally finds them in the second round. So looking over his uh fights, a lot of them do tend to come in the second round. So spends the first round feeling out his opponents. Second round goes in for the kill. And it'll be interesting to see if that does happen against Rodriguez. But I mean, it could do because, excuse me, right? It could do because in terms of their overall MMA experience, there's not really a lot in it. In terms, Emil's 11-2, and Rodriguez 12-4. So not a huge gulf as there is between, say, the Carol Rosa and Luana Santos um, fight that I just mentioned. But it will be close. But I think Rodriguez for me just slightly more well-rounded um, than Hyder Emil is. So Not quite a 50-50. I'd say it's probably more like a sort of a 60-40. And Baron von Rattus needs a little bit of luck, but he might get away with this one. Okay, so we move on now to Boom Shakalaka. Let's see what's the wheel's going to serve up for Boom Shakalaka. Okay, it's been an interesting one to try and spell and pronounce. Melsik Baghadasian for Boom Shakalaka. Apologies for absolutely butchering the pronunciation on that. Right, probably the spelling as well. Melsik. I didn't mean to open a calculator. Um, Baghd, Baghd, uh, Asar, Yan. Melsik Baghadasian there. Boom shakalaka. Yeah, again, apologies for um butchering both the spelling and pronunciation of it. Another featherweight fight, one below the Christian Rodriguez Hydro Emil fight. And um, this one, to be honest, I've gone with his opponent. Uh, Another interesting name to try and pronounce itself, actually. Murtazali Magomedov, I believe is how it's pronounced. Apologies again for butchering that one, but I've got Magomedov by first round knockout in this one. Magomedov's going to be making his UFC debut. That's coming off the back of his Contender Series win against 9-0 Braham Jurcha by knockout, and all of his finishes in his 10-0 career have come by all of his 10-0 wins have come by finish. Five knockouts, five submissions. You just don't. It's gonna. So how do you defend against someone like that? It's got an equal chance of knocking you out or submitting you. It's going to be a large. It's going to be a very uphill battle against for Melsik Baghdadian. Um, in his last fight, got knocked out by Gene Silver. No shame in that, though, because Gene Silver was way out of his league in terms of ability, in my opinion. So there's no shame in getting knocked out by him. That was over a year ago, though, and the fight before that was a decision win against Tucker Lutz. But that was 2 years and 10 months ago, so he's not very active, which I don't like to see in a fighter. I prefer fighters, even if they're in a bit of a rough patch, I prefer to see them staying active and yeah, because you want to you don't want to risk accumulating all that ring rust, which I believe is a factor really. Because I mean, as much as you train, it's not really any substitute for the pressure of a real fight. Yeah, you can spar as much as you want, and obviously your sparring partner is going to be competitive, but when you're in there against someone that wants to hurt you, that's trying to knock you out, trying to submit you to progress in their career with money on the line, it's a completely different type of pressure that a gym can't really simulate. Um, so yeah, I think Boom Shakalaka's gonna he's gonna struggle with this one, unfortunately. I think so's Melsik Baghad Darcian as well. So yeah, best of luck, Boom Shakalaka, but I'm not hopeful for your chances here. Okay, so we move on to Kalfoth now. Let's see um, what the wheel has planned for Kalfoth. Levan Chokeli for Kalfoth there. Levan Chokeli or Levan Chokeli, however it's pronounced. Let's see, Kelly, I think that's how it's spelled. Chok H in there somewhere. And yeah, again, apologies for the spelling of that and the butchering the pronunciation of it. Um, yeah, 'cause, oh, excuse me, can't stop yawning at the moment. But anyway, oh, oh, yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, it was tired as fuck, long day at work. But anyway, Levan Cocelli, first fighter I've actually picked to win for for this one against Leon Shabazian. I've got and to win by first round knockout too as well. Again, Shokeli making his UFC debut. Um, is 4-3 in Bellator, and during his time there, he always looks for early knockouts. Um, and that's mostly his own. It's all he's really got going for him because he's never actually won a fight by submission. Interestingly enough, so it's sort of go out there and try and find that knockout at all costs for him. We'll see if he takes the same approach to the UFC though. It is his debut in the promotion, mind you, so we'll see um if he carries on with that kind of style, or whether he mixes it up a bit to try and adjust to the tougher level. His opponent though, Leon Shabazian's also making his UFC debut. Um, and most of his wins all being complete opposite of why come by first round submission. And so you got a complete contrast of styles here, almost reminiscent of the old UFC days when it was pitching the different styles against each other to see which one was the best. And this is your, I suppose, your knockout artist versus your grappler kind of fighting uh, fight here. And for me, though, I've gone with the knockout artist to find that shot before the grappler uh, can do his thing and win by submission. I think there's only two ways this fight goes. It's either Shabazian by decision or Shekeli by knockout. I've gone back and forth on it a few times, but ultimately, I think it's more likely Shekeli finds that shot. I never feel confident picking against someone that's got the power to just turn your lights out in the blink of an eye. So I wouldn't necessarily say I'm confident on this one, but it's definitely more confident than I am on the other ones. So Calfoth, yeah, as long as Trakeli doesn't get taken down too early or get into any trouble on the ground, I think Calfoth should go through to the third round here. Okay, Canhego Ruiz is next to see what awaits him tomorrow night. And he gets Carol Rosa. So that gives us our first head-to-head. Uh, Carol Rosa, obviously against Luana Santos. And Carol Rosa, so that is A versus Canhego Ruiz as our first head-to-head. And as I've said, Carol Rosa, I've got her to win by decision. I just think she's far more experienced, far more well-rounded than Santos is. And Santos, of course, will, like I say, she's going to try and bring the fight to the ground, try and end it early by submission. But I can't see her doing that against someone as experienced as Rosa because I don't think I highlighted it last time, but Luana Santos records 10-2 MMA and 5-1 UFC. I mentioned the 5-1 UFC. Still only 12 fights into her career though, whereas Carol Rosa has 19 wins and 7 losses in her MMA career, 8-4 in the UFC. So there's a quite a big golfing experience there between Rosa and Santos, and that's why I'm thinking that I don't really see what Santos is going to do that Rosa's not seen before or can't deal with. So yeah, I'm sticking with that prediction there. Cal Rosa goes through, and I think Kenhager Reese has got the better end of this head to head. Okay, so move on to C Collins 44. Let's see what the wheel has got lined up for C Collins 44. It's Ion Kutalaba. Ion Kutalaba there for C Collins 44. And in the co-main event against Navajo Sterling. And so I've got Sterling to win by third round knockout, if I'm being honest, because Kutalaba again, we were talking about experience, far more experienced of the two, 20 wins, 11 losses, one draw. Sterling still undefeated though, 9-0, 4-0 in the UFC, whereas Kutalaba's 9-10 and 1 in the UFC. So there's again big difference in experience, but Kutalaba, a solid opponent, but he has been finished numerous times in the past, so it's not as if he's got some completely impregnable defense that that's going to sort of really serve him because and it's certainly something I think so. Prospects of Sterling's caliber should be able to finish um, finish Kutalaba off. Uh, it's a good bit of matchmaking, I suppose, from the UFC really, because it's Sterling still climbs the rankings while also being given a solid name on his records and an experienced one as well, which will still ask questions of him. I'm not expecting Kutalaba to get completely blown away here. I'm expecting him to have uh, periods of success in the fight, but overall, I think Sterling will break him down over the course of the 3 rounds, and um, yeah, I just don't think Kutalaba is going to be able to stand up to Sterling's power for 3 rounds, and because of that, I'm going with Navarro Sterling, and I'm afraid this might be where we say goodbye to Cheese, not Cheese, C Collins 44. Misspoke there. Uh, I believe we already got rid of Cheese Ball, funnily enough, like in the last round. So, but yeah, C Collins 44, Iron Kutalaba. Going to need a little bit of luck there. Chimp Smack is next to discover his fate. Let's see who Chimp Smack is going to be drawn with. And it's Leon Shabazian for Chimp Smack. And there's another head to head there. Just try and spell his name out correctly. Leon, that's the easy part. Shabaz, uh, Bazyan, I think. Again, apologies to Leon for that. Butchering his spelling, but yeah, it does give us our first head to head because obviously he's in the fight against Levan Chakeli, and so that's going to be Kalfoth with Levan Chakeli versus Chimpsmack with Leon Shabazian. Um, it's probably easier just to refer to this fight as Leon versus Lee Van, actually, rather than trying to butcher the surnames of them. But and again, it's that grappler versus striker matchup. So it's intriguing we have this as a head-to-head between two users. Um, and it's like I say, it's one I have gone back and forth on a couple of times, but I just think it's just slightly more likely that Kelly's going to find that knockout before Shabazian has a chance to really establish a grappling dominance in the fight. Um, and Shabazian, if he's going to win, doesn't even need to do it in the first round necessarily. He does look um, for first round subs, and a lot of his wins have come by that way. But if that's not possible, he could just be might spend a round or two just grappling until uh, Kelly's got nothing left, and then finish him. But so then it's not impossible. We've seen plenty of grapplers completely nullify the threat of a striker that's meant to come and knock them unconscious. But yeah, I'll stick with my original pick of Kelly there. But this could be a chaotic fight, and it's interesting that it's a head to head between two of our users, two of our players in this game. But Chimp Smack, I think it might need just a little bit of luck to get through to the third round. Okay, D1, D4, K10 next to see what the wheel has in store for him. Kevin Borges uh, for D1, D4, K10. Kevin Borges, a much easier one to spell. Uh, has has to be said, and I do appreciate that because there's quite a few funny ones which are quite hard to spell and pronounce on this card for some reason. Anyway, another fairly easy one to pronounce. Andre Lima, that's his opponent. And Kevin Borges is quite frankly a massive underdog in this one. I'm not sure exactly what the betting line is at the moment, but it's quite steep. Um, Andre Lima, I think, is was when I checked yesterday, he was about minus 600 or thereabouts, or high minus 500s, which is in normal fractional betting is about 1 to 6 ish or thereabouts. So I think he's the favourite for a reason. Still undefeated, 11-0 in his career, 4-0 in the UFC. Got a win in the LFA as well, just for good measure. And again, he tends to go for the early knockouts where possible. Um, he hasn't actually won by knockout in the UFC yet, though. That's the interesting thing about all of those knockouts have come when he's been fighting on the regional promotions. His win in the LFA was by knockout as well. Um, so you can kind of maybe make the argument that uh is he going to be uh well is the reason he's not found a knockout in the UFC so far been because the competition's got tougher and he's not able to, or is it that this is a tactical thing that him and his coaches are working on, that he's trying to diversify his skill set, so to speak? But I'm inclined to believe that it's going to be the former, because if you are good at if you've got a knack for knocking people out early, surely you're going to stick with that. Because when you're in the UFC, if you're in the UFC and you've got a chance to finish your opponent, you've got to take it. And yeah, Kevin Borges got off to a great start in the promotion, but maybe not quite as good as um, initially thought when he was first signed and to the promotion. But should still get should still get through this fight without too many issues, I reckon. Okay, so move on to Damien Handel 420. Let's see where what the wheel is going to give to Damien Handel 420. And it's Murtazali Magomedov. Mhm. And, again, it's going to take a little while just to type out. Mur- um, How we spelling it? Murta Zali Magomadov. Yeah, quite a common surname. So I've got used to spelling Magomadov now, but yeah, it's still I know there's no way that I've pronounced his first name correctly. I'm sure of that. So again, apologies for that. But and the same for his opponents, Melsik, Baghdadian, who I mentioned earlier. When who was it got Melsik? Uh, it was Boom Shakalaka got Melsik. Uh, so I'm so glad I'm not Bruce Buffer for this fight. That's all I'm going to say. As I'd have to have everything. If I was doing his job, I'd have to have every single foreign name, basically, uh, or any slightly unusual name that doesn't conform to normal, simple English language. I'd need it spelled out in phonetics on the back of his cards. Um, anyway, Magomadov, first round knockout. That's my prediction. Um, like I say, he's making his debut in the promotion against Baghdadian, who's uh, 3-2 in the UFC, so he's done all right, but again, not exactly setting the world alight. And it does look like the UFC are very much setting him up to be fed to Magomedov. Um, so I don't feel like he's getting any matchmaking favors from the UFC there at all. But yeah, as we said, Magomedov very well rounded. Can win by submission. He can win by knockout. He seems to be the complete package at the moment. He's a very good prospect. I don't see him losing tomorrow night. So um, a decent pick there for Damien Handel 420. I'd expect to see him through into the next round. Fourcorn Sam is next to discover his fate. And Fourcorn Sam gets Hyder Emil. So it's again Hyder Emil. Nice easy name to spell and pronounce that one. Used to know a kid at school called Hyder. I wonder what he's up to these days. Um. Anyway, so Hyder Emil obviously up against Christian Rodriguez, as we've mentioned earlier. Who was it? As again, no, it was scroll back a bit. Baron von Rattus had Hyder Emil. So Foghorn Sam and Baron von Rattus sort of doubled up there. Hyder Emil carrying two people on his shoulder, and yeah, as I mentioned earlier, I've gone with Christian Rodriguez simply because he's a little bit more experienced than Emil is at this stage in their careers. Um, and the thing is, as well, Emil's not coming into this fight in the best form either. Two fight losing streak, Jamal Emmers and Jose Delgado. So, and bearing in mind they're the only two losses of his career so far, um, it makes you wonder if he is able to come back from this from a psychological perspective. See if he hasn't lost any of that confidence that he would have had from being an undefeated fighter. But it's a bit of a skid at the moment, though. It has to be said. But yeah, I think both Baron Van Rattus and Foghorn Sam they'll be needing a bit of luck here. Okay, so we move on to Grahamon. Let's see who Grahamon is going to be matched with. Melissa Mullins for Grahamon there. Melissa Mullins. So, I'm not even sure I've spelt Melissa Mullins right. Probably not spelled Melissa. I get confused when there's too many S's and I's and things like that in the name. Uh, anyway, she's up against Bia Mesquita, another name I'm not 100% sure I've pronounced correctly. Um, I've gone with Mesquita though by decision. Um, but Mesquita still 7-0 in her career, still undefeated. Mm. Gone 2-0 in the UFC, 4-0 in the LFA as well. So all but basically her debut fight, they're all decent, respectable level promotions. Or so she's been fighting at a decent level her whole career. Um, Normally looks for the early submission win, and of course, former LFA champion, as I mentioned, as mentioned her being 4-0 in the LFA. Um, so it didn't take her long to prove her ability at a regional level, and yeah, so far she's been doing a good job in the UFC, winning her first two fights. But Melissa Mullins, she should be able to handle the submission threats of Melquita because even though we don't see too much in MMA, we uh in terms of her looking for subs, but she does do a lot of wrestling and grappling outside of the UFC, so uh she's no amateur when it comes to the ground game. She knows what she's doing. Um, she should be able to defend most things coming at her from Mesquita, and yeah, that's all I can really say about that. Is I don't think she's getting finished. I think her defense, her grappling defense, is going to be a bit too good for Mesquita. To sort of get one over and get it all finished. But I am expecting Mesquita to dominate the fight, and really take control. And another decision win there for Mesquita. It's interesting to note Mullins has never won or lost by submission in her MMA career. She's been submitted a few times in the grappling outside the UFC, but we're not really counting that. Otherwise, the stat wouldn't work. But yeah, quite interesting that. So I suppose it always makes you think though. It's like, what if excuse me, I cannot stop yawning. I'm so tired. Ah, right. What if Mosquito can't handle that? What if she can't go the distance and sort of gasses out? We'll have to wait and see. But I think Mosquito's still the safe pick for this fight anyway. Uh, so we move on to It's Your Boy SB. So let's see who It's Your Boy SB is going to be given by the wheel. Kevin Borges for It's Your Boy SB. Okay, so we're starting to get quite a few double ups and head to heads here, so I won't bother uh, going back at this stage to try and work out all the different permutations of it, because that's just going to take forever and get very confusing. But who was it though? Come on, I know someone else had Borges. D1 D4K10, yeah, not too long ago. Um, Up against Andre Lima. And as I mentioned with D1 D4K10, Borges is a massive underdog here. I suppose to go into a little bit more detail this time around why he's such a massive underdog. Currently 1-4 in the UFC, very dangerous record to be on because you do get a sense one more loss and it will be out of the promotion. Currently on a 2-fight losing streak and lost 4 of his last 5 fights overall. So yeah, it looks like that come tomorrow night, I think Kevin Borges might be leaving the promotion. Um, because it's it's just a fact. I'm expecting Andre Lemus to knock him out. Nothing personal at all against him, and best of luck to him if he wins. And but I just that's just my prediction. I think he's going to really struggle tomorrow night. So it's your boy SB. He's going to need a lot of luck, as is D1 D4 K10. Okay, Jack Soto is next. Let's see who the wheel's got in store for Jack. Levan Shokeli. Levan Shokeli there for Jack Soto. So that's now a 2v1 in that fight. And as I said, it's the probably the most interesting fight at the moment. Also shaping up to your unofficial Lucky Bastard Game main event. Striker versus Grappler. Pick your poison. I've gone with Shokeli for the knockout win. Uh, Not really much more I can add on to that. This is about the this is the second time he's come up now, and he's third time covering him overall. So other than that, Jack Soto's in what's probably going to be the Lucky Bastard Game main event, and truth be told, a bit of a 50-50 fight as well, for my money. Because if he does get taken down, that could be a long night for him. But I just think realistically, Shakeli's going to find the knockout uh before Shabazian gets into the fight, really gets a real foothold on the grappling. But Shabazian doesn't need long to get into the fight though, so he's got that going for him. Um, so yeah, it could be very interesting that, especially with if more people end up. We've still got well, that was the 13th actually. We're halfway through now. Still got half of the field to go to assign fighters to, so it's possible we could have a few more involved in that fight before the end of this. So move on to Jordan and Pippin, the first of our three alliances in this game. So uh, let's see if the wheel's going to continue to be kind to the alliances, because I don't think there's been of the games we've had three alliances in. I don't think all three have gone through the first round before. I think it's happened when there were in games where we've had two alliances, but not all three. Um, so let's see. Just make sure I am sharing the screen here, Jordan, so they can see who they're actually going to get when the wheel spins. Jordan and Pippin. Let's spin the wheel for them. Okay, and a new fighter comes out of the wheel, and it's Tanzilovi. Atari Tanzilovi for Jordan and Pippin. So again, another interesting one. Try spell Otari. Hunter Campbell's done this on purpose, hasn't he? He's done this deliberately to fuck with me. I'm now convinced Hunter Campbell watches my videos, and has built this card just for the sole purpose of fucking me over with pronouncing the names. That seems like the sort of thing he'd probably do, to be honest. That seems like his sense of humor. But anyway, uh, in the first fight on the cards up against Shane Collins, much easier name to pronounce. Um, both making their UFC debuts. Um, Tanzalovi 10-1 in the UFC. Not in the UFC, bloody hell, that's a fucking. I'll be a bit more familiar with him if that were the case. But no, 10-1 in his MMA career, sorry. And uh, yeah, both him and Collins making their UFC debuts, what I meant to say. Collins 7-0 in his MMA career, by the way. Um, his only loss was a split decision, a very close split decision on the Contender Series. Um, and what we've seen of him in the regionals before that, seems to be a knockout artist. And again, perhaps a bit of a one-trick pony, since he has also never won or lost a fight by sub. And one thing I feel like that's quite. There's a few stats I tend to repeat. There's a few cliches I tend to fall into um, when doing the analysis of these fights. But I do tend to notice a lot of the up and coming prospects. They go into it winning most of their fights by knockout, by submission or whatever, and then have absolutely no wins at all by the other methods. Um, so, and on one hand, I get that. It makes sense if that's what you're good at, that's what's winning your fight, keep at it. But on the other hand, it does raise when you get to the UFC level where everything's being tested in a fight or should be being tested in a fight. You think that those weak spots are going to be found out, it's going to be exposed. But anyway, the only thing going in his favour is that Collins also likes to try and look for early knockouts. Again, it's so yes, I'd expect this to be a mostly standing fight anyway. But whoever does go through, they're gonna have to, whoever well, I say goes through, they'll probably both still be in the promotion after anyway. But I mean, whoever wins more is bound to end up with a grappler at some point. So it's part of their game they need to focus on paying a bit more attention to, even if they don't necessarily want to rely on it. Um, but but yeah, anyway, so it's going to be a standing fight. It's going to be an entertaining fight for sure. And I've got sort of gone back and forth a little bit on this. One part of me, I'm thinking Tanzalov's going to win by knockout, but then I am wondering if that power will transfer up to this level, which I'm not 100% sure at, to be honest, because two fighters at a similar level, similar stage of their careers, I'm tempted to say that they almost cancel each other out until at least at a very similar ability level. They'll definitely have respect for each other, I'm sure. So, uh, so yeah, I think it could be a case of might get a slightly more cagey affair than usual. I've actually gone with Tanzalovi by decision to win this one, just on the basis of the two similar styles might sort of somewhat well more so not so much the styles but more the levels they're at might cancel each other out. Might change it back to a knockout or something. Depends when I fully make my mind up on my final UFC picks. But in any case, I predicted Tanzalovi to win. So if you're superstitious, then that might be a blessing or a curse. Depends if you're a pessimist or an optimist, really, I suppose. Anyway, Jordan and Pippin, Atari Tanzalovi, entertaining fight, a little bit of a 50-50 one. KK Kombu next to see who he's going to be paired with. Let's see what the wheel pulls out of the hat or out of the wheel for KK Kombu. And yes, Ion Kutalaba. Ion Kutalaba there for KK Kombu. And again, that's not a very good pick in my opinion. As I mentioned, up against Navajo Sterling and Kutalaba. I'm expecting him to put up a decent fight against Sterling. Um, very solid gatekeeper at light heavyweight, but I don't see him ever being anything beyond gatekeeper level, really. sort of guy that someone rising up the light heavyweight ranks like Sterling needs to beat, both in terms of experience and gaining legitimacy among the fans and the other fighters in the division. But Kutalaba, as I've mentioned, has been stopped before. Um, it's so yeah, I will just we'll just have to say that Kutalaba, I don't fancy him to win this at all. I think KK Kombu's going to have a very long night, having to wait to the co-main event and then immediately saying goodbye to the Lucky Bastard game for this edition anyway. I think it's going to be, yeah, he's going to need a big upset. Okay, Knife Rusty next to face the wheel. Let's see who Knife Rusty gets drawn with. Andre Philly. Andre Philly there for Knife Rusty. And oh, excuse me. Um, that's better. All right, just had a bit of a drink there, but anyway, now I clear my throat a bit. Andre Philly against Vinicius Oliveira, at featherweight. Interesting one because this is uh, I don't know why. I mean, I've always had Oliveira's been one of the newer fighters that I've sort of taken a shine to be honest. Um, so it's very entertaining fight style. I just really like watching his uh yeah, like I say, watching him do his thing. Although his run at bantamweight was decent actually. I thought he'd stay at bantamweight, but he's decided to move up to featherweight, which was a little bit of a surprise to me. But given he seems to be having quite a bit of success at bantamweight, not an immediate title challenger or climbing the ranks by it or getting into like the challenger spots by any means, but that'll probably take a few years given how stacked the division is. But decided to take a chance for featherweight, and my main concern is does his power um, uh, follow him up to featherweight? I think it will to an extent. To against someone like Philly, I think yes, he'd still be able to rely on his power, but if he does have a little bit of a run during featherweight, he's going to need some uh to well. I don't suppose he'd need to really do anything. I suppose he might add more power to his punches, but I can't really do that because he already hits like a fucking train anyway. But I think what I'm trying to say rather is that his opponents are going to be tougher. Won't go down as easy. Plus, they're heavier people. They're going to have more of a natural tolerance, you'd think, but be able to absorb the punishment better. So I'm not convinced by Oliveira's move up to featherweight, but I mean, enough about Oliveira anyway. I went rambling there just because I like him, but have got him to win by second round submission. As for Andre Philly, the guy who actually came out of the hat for Knife Rusty, um, very experienced fighter, 25 wins, 13 losses, and Oliveira's not inexperienced himself, 23-4. But Philly, it feels like he's been in the UFC forever, and that's because he has. With his 13 wins, 12 losses, no draws, one no contest for good measure in the promotion. So he's been around basically forever. Um, in his last fight, it was a split decision loss to Jose Delgado, and um, yeah, you can. I think Jose Delgado won that from what I remember it, but I'd probably have to go rewatch the fight again, but to be 100% sure. But I don't remember it being too. uh, too close, but anyways, tend to look for knockouts most of the time anyway. So I like to think that he'll be out to avoid it going to the judges if he can help it after that experience last time. Um, he's a little bit of a glass cannon though. Has been knocked out 4 times and in his career, and that's what I'm thinking with Oliveira. If he finds that chin on Philly, it's lights out. It's game over. It just needs to be one good punch, and that would get it done. But Andre Philly there for Knife Rusty. Right. Uh, move on to Love Song. Let's see who the wheels got in store for Love Song. Right on the edge there, but the wheels decided that is Levan Chokeli again. So another fighter added to that Levan versus Leon fight. And Chokeli. Um, so yeah, I think that's now 3v1 in favor of Coachelli versus Shabazian. Uh, and I'll say very interesting because two very similar fighters, both both complete opposite styles for a start. So it's similar in the sense that it's like the old UFC, basically what the UFC first set out to do, find out which style of martial art is the best, is the most effective. Of course, the Gracies did it to sort of as a advertisement for Brazilian Jiu Jitsu or Gracie Jiu Jitsu anyway, and it's sort of, yeah, and then obviously since then it's sort of merged into MMA, one all in one fighting sport that where you mix all different styles and so in a way it's a sort of a throwback fight with the two styles head to head, but as I was saying about the other similarities, they're both fairly on in their careers, but both similar records, 12-4 of Shabazian to 14-3 of Chakeli, both making their UFC debut, both with names I can't fucking pronounce. So there's a lot of similarities going for them. Um, and yeah, definitely going to be the Lucky Bastard Game main event, that's for sure. I'd be surprised if there's another fight which accumulates about 4, probably now 5 fighters needed. It could happen. Stranger things has happened from the wheels, but I think realistically we can say that the unofficial title of the Lucky Bastard Game main event will be the Chokeli versus Shabazian fight. Um, and as my predictions always been, Chokeli first round knockout. I reckon that the striker's going to get the better of that exchange, of that fight. So we move on to our reigning defending Tapology Lucky Bastard Game champion, Shat, won the 37th edition. First round, still in the 38th edition. So let's see. Is the wheel going to be kind to our champion again? And we get one of the main eventers, Kyoji Horiguchi for Shat. So that is KY OJI Hori GUCHI Horiguchi. So as I mentioned earlier in the video, the main event against Manel Cape and Horiguchi won that first fight. But so I suppose it'll have the psychological advantage in that sense, but it's long ago enough that I don't suppose we can really say that's definitely going to have too much of a bearing on this fight. Um, Horiguchi far more experienced in terms of fights. 36 wins, 5 losses, compared to Manel Cape's 22 wins and 7 losses. Um, and you don't go 36 and 5 in MMA without being an extremely talented all-round fighter. And you don't get that sort of record without having faced the likes of Manel Cape, which he quite literally already has, but other fighters of his caliber and danger they present from knockout power that Cape possesses. But I think Horiguchi's going to be fine. Um, Maybe not finish Cape because Cape has improved even just since being in the UFC. We've seen him improve his game, but it's yeah, I think this is going to be a very tough fight for Manel Cape to win. So Shat, I think could be going through to a third round, and then at that point, really starting to get into the deeper waters of the game, deeper territories of the Lucky Bastard game, and potentially win a second consecutive title. Okay, so we move on to the Dirty UFC man. Let's see what has the wheel got planned for the Dirty UFC man. Dread to think, actually. It's Andre Philly for the Dirty UFC man. Uh, it's appropriate to talk about veterans, and then Philly comes out of the hat. Um, just talking about how experienced Horiguchi was, and that's followed up by uh, Andre Philly. Uh, Again, so that's Philly's. That's 38 fights in his career, 25 and 13. And I say the majority of them have been in the UFC. Not the prettiest looking UFC record, but it's impressive. His longevity and he is UFC level despite the records. Even though there are better fighters in the UFC, Andre Philly, in my opinion, would still drop down to a lot of, if not all levels of MMA if he were to be released and could win another belt there. Um, so Philly, obviously, against Vinicius Oliveira. I'm trying not to talk too much about Oliveira, given I went on a rant about him last time Philly came out the hat. But I do think Oliveira is going to win by knockout, though. Went on a complete ramble there, but none of that probably made any sense. But sort of half asleep here, so I never make any fucking sense when I am wide awake anyway. So I suppose no change there. I suppose the only thing you might be able to argue is maybe Philly got a few veteran tricks up his sleeve Oliveira's not seen, but Oliveira again very experienced himself, so don't really think that'll be the case. Okay, the matchmaker is next to face the wheel. Let's see who the wheel's going to give to the matchmaker. The wheel's own bit of matchmaking. It's quite a good one there. Carol Rosa. Carol Rosa for the matchmaker. Just talking about experience, and as I mentioned a couple of times now, Rosa definitely more experienced than Luana Santos. Um, 19 and 7, so that is 26 fights compared to Santos's 12 fights. Yeah, that's 14 fight difference. That is a very significant gap to consider, especially with Rosa being so good at managing the fights as well. Uh, given how good her defense is. I just don't see how Luana Santos is going to be able to uh well, I know she's very good at submissions, but I just don't think it's going to be enough to get past Rose. I think Rose is going to be much better, have a much better game plan, one that's I suppose could make it quite boring, I suppose, to an extent from the fans, but it's going to be effective. And I think it'd just be we'll see a lot of Santos going for the takedown, trying to get the takedown, but it's Rosa fighting it off and defending it. Um, this is going to be a very comfortable, um, unanimous decision for Cal Rosa, for my opinion. So I think the matchmaker, um, I think it should be saying thanks to the wheel for that one. I think he'll be through to the third round. The MMA historian next to see what awaits him. Let's see what is in store for the MMA historian. Again, another close fight there, but or another close spin there, rather, right on the edge there. But Murtsali Magomedov for the MMA historian. So try and spell that one again. Murtazali, Murt Magomedov. I think I can take it. Magomedov. I think I can take it from there. Yeah, I say this card has just been a bloody nightmare for the names. In the future, I'd appreciate it if Hunter Campbell is watching this this card, then I hope that I just want to say Hunter of the fighters with complicated names, if you could spread them out a bit more across cards, so they're less likely to all come up during one video, that would be great, please and thanks. But anyway, Magomedov, I've said a couple of times now, I've got him to win by first round knockout against Melsik Baghdadian. Thanks for that one as well. And Magomedov, obviously making his debut, is going to look to get off to a good start. No reason why he shouldn't. He's very impressive in the contender series, and he can finish you by sub. He can knock you out. Interestingly, never gone the distance, so maybe that might be a potential weakness of Magomedov. That Melsik, I'm just going to call him Melsik, um, is could pick up on, but try and wear him out so you don't have nothing left for the third round. But I don't think he's going to have the chance to get that. I think Magomedov's going to win by knockout before that can happen. So the MMA historian with a fairly good pick there, in my opinion. So he should be getting through to the third round. Trail is next. Let's see who the wheel has got in store for Trail. And one of probably my favourite fighter on this card, Vinicius Oliveira. That makes that fight a head to head. Vinicius Oliveira for Trail. That is Vinicius Oliveira. There you go. I'm such a big fan of his. I've learned how to spell his name off by heart. That is the highest compliment a fighter can receive from me. Out of all the shit that I chat on here, the fact that I've learned how to spell your name is incredible. It's the highest awards, highest honor I can bestow upon a fighter. Probably even surpassing being added into the Lucky Bastard Game Hall of Fame. Um, I haven't actually had any fighters from the Hall of Fame reach out to me and say how much of an honor it is, by the way. Well, yeah, having said that, I've not reached out to any fighters to let them know either. So, and if I did, they'd probably just get back to me asking what the fuck is going on over on here, and it's probably a can of worms probably shouldn't be opening anyway. But trail with Vinicius Oliveira, um, and as I say, he's making the jump up to featherweight, and I say 4-1 in UFC. That bearing in mind it's a bantamweight. I thought he'd stick at bantamweight, and I'm surprised he hasn't because one loss. I wouldn't have thought he'd. Okay, it's a minor setback, and um, but I didn't think that was the wisest move for him to make. But who knows? Maybe he knows himself better than I do. Obviously, maybe if he struggles with the weight cuts, I think he in his UFC debut he struggled with the weight cut. I remember that because that's when he let out that weird scream on the scales, which partly made me think, "Oh, who's this guy?" But uh, so yeah, mate. If maybe if that cut to 135 was too much for him, it makes sense um to move up to featherweight and fight at a more natural weight, and you're not depleting yourself so much. Um, but yeah, enough about that. He's yeah, like I say, I'm expecting him to win. The second round knockout against Andre Philly. Um, again, Oliveira, plenty of experience himself, despite obviously Philly's wealth of experience. Um, but yeah, I think Charles got a decent chance of getting through. Part of that will be biased because obviously I like Oliveira, but it's yeah, I'll be surprised if he lost. Let's put it that way. Okay, Trig, next to face the wrath of the wrath of the wheel. Also, give a shout out to Trig running the Tapology Wagering League, which I believe you can jump in at any time. Um, so if you want to test your gambling ability without actually putting any real money at stake, join that. Make some bets, so hypothetical bets, and see how badly you would have bankrupted yourself if this were real money. And that's I know I would have bankrupted myself if I was doing those bets in real life. But we all appreciate that. So thanks, Trig, for running that. Anyway, let's see. Before I completely lose my place in this um, video through rambling, we're going to spin the wheel for Trig. Let's see who's Trig going to wind up with. It's Magomedov again. Murtazali Magomedov. Um, and at the rate he's been coming out, he'll be probably end up learning his name off by heart as well. Murtazali, I think. Zali, not Zeli, Zali. Murtazali Magomedov for Trig, and yeah, I'll say it's up against Melsic. Uh, Melsic Baghdazian for the full name, but again, I'll just call him Melsic. Um, Magomedov first round knockouts, as I've mentioned about 3 or 4 times, because he's come up quite a lot actually. Maybe I think might actually have had as many on Magomedov as we have on Kelly. But like I say very well rounded. He can sub you, he can knock you out. It's I would say it's going to be a long night for Melsick, but it's probably going to be a quick one. Um, yeah, like I say, yeah, I suppose Melsick's only really hope is maybe try and find a tactic that sort of stalls Magomedov, wears him out, but I just don't think he'd be able to control the fight in that way. But it's good news for Trig. Magomedov, decent chance of getting through. Okay, so we move on to Trostradamus, the second of our three alliances now. Tros and Costradamus, of course, they've rejoined for this game, and they've actually made it through the first round for once. So maybe it is third time lucky for them. Let's see. Um, what is going on here? What the fuck is? Am I on the internet page? Yeah. Yes. Hang on. It just came up as from my end there. When I was switching the screen to go to this page, it just came up with a bunch of black and white bars going across my screen, so I couldn't tell if that was. No, I'll just go back to this page and then back again, see if it is working smoothly. Yeah, seems to be all right now. Right, Trostradamus. Let's see. Who does Trostradamus get drawn with? And this is where I think they might be going out. Being drawn with Luana Santos, and this fight's come out of the hat a few times as well, actually, thinking about it. So this might have some contenders for the unofficial Lucky Bastard game main event. Luana Santos is, of course, fighting against Carol Rosa, and I've mentioned a few times now, I'm expecting the sheer golfing experience between the two fighters to be the deciding factor. And unfortunately for Damas, that experience is on the side of Rosa. And yeah, I'm expecting a shutout performance from Rosa, control the fight and keep any of Santos's submission attempts at bay, and um, grind out another unanimous decision win. Um, that's what she did against Nora Cornelli last time out. That's what she does best. That's her style of fighting, and it works for her. So fair play to her, and that's how I'm expecting this fight to go tomorrow night as well. So I think Damas, I suppose it's for them, it's a bit of a novelty getting through the first round, but they're going to need a lot of luck to get through the second round, if I'm being honest. But you never know. Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have happened in women's MMA too, so you never know. Okay, so our third and final alliance and penultimate player in this game at the moment is Uber Industry, our longest going alliance at the moment, or longest consistently going alliance anyway. Um, I think Trostradamus were the first alliance, but Uber Industry never split up. They've been the longest consistent one, so fair play to them. And let's see who they're going to be drawn with in this game as well. Uber Industry, the German alliance. They are going to be drawn with Kevin Borges. Kevin Borges there for Uber Industry. Another name I feel like has popped out quite a few times. It feels like we've had quite a few similar to what happened to last week. I think we've got quite a few fighters, quite a few players being drawn with certain fighters, because I feel like there's a lot of fighters here I've not talked about. Like you got your Mitch Raposios, your Gaston Bolanos, your Michael Aswell Juniors, your Alan Cimentos. Um, it, your it's a case that I feel like there's quite a few that's not been mentioned. So anyway, enough about them. They didn't get drawn by the wheel. Obviously, the wheel decided they weren't worthy of being a part in this round. But anyway, Uber Industry, Kevin Borges, obviously against Andre Lima. Um, so obviously Andre Lima, the heavy favourites. There's no escaping that fact. 11-0. Um, looks for early knockouts and well in his regional career anyway, but not so much in the UFC. Will he try and change that with a statement knockout over Borges? That's what I'm predicting. Um, but the thing is, even if he doesn't, he has shown with those other performances that yes, he can go the distance. He can sort of bide his time a bit. Um, he's got the stamina to have a longer fight, and his grappling's not bad either. So I just I just don't see how Borges wins this. Especially that, yeah, like I say, Borges on that losing streak, and having lost more than he's won of his last few fights. One interesting fact I will just throw in there about Kevin Borges: his UFC debut was against Joshua Van, who's of course the flyweight champion now. Not that has any relevance to this fight, but just an interesting little tidbit that I'll sort of throw in there for you. Maybe a small consolation trivia stat for the fact that you've been drawn with Kevin Borges in the first place. But this might be where we say um, Guten Tag. Is that good night or is that good morning? I don't know. Or whatever goodbye is in German to Uber industry. Hang on, let me Google that quickly. Right, let's go screen sharing. Let's go to Google. Translate English to German. German to English would be no use to me. Uh, goodbye. Off. Why did shine? Okay. Well, that wasn't even close. Or Wiedersehen for Uber industry. Hopefully not, though. Hopefully I'm wrong with that prediction, but I just don't see how Kevin Borges does get that win. So, off Wiedersehen, I think it might be to Uber industry. Okay, so finally we move on to Vazk 88. Which page are we on these days? Yeah, Vazk 88. Now back onto this page. Yeah. So Vazk 88. One final spin for this week. Let's see who Vazk is going to be paired with. And Melissa Mullins for Vazk 88. Came out I think once before for someone. Um, well, it definitely came out for someone. I just can't remember who. Off the top of my head, but against Beer Mosquito. Um, I have got Mosquito to win by a decision, and like I say, Mosquito's very much got that submission threat to her, um, and that's going to be how she's going to look to win against Mullins. Mullins, even though uh, tries to look for knockouts where possible in MMA, does a lot of grappling outside of it because most of her knockout wins by ground and pound. So there's a deal of grappling involved in her fight style as well. But so it's not like she's necessarily a kickboxer type or a Muay Thai fighter or something like that. But yeah, anyway, it's most of her or a lot of her knockouts are by ground and pound. So you do need to have good grappling for that. And of course, she's shown her grappling potentials outside the UFC quite a few times as well. So I don't see her getting submitted by Mosquito, but it's going to be a tough fight for her, and I think Mosquito will do enough to win the decision there. So I think we might be saying off White Shine, or whatever it was, to Vasquez 88. Or actually, it's Adios, isn't it, for Spanish, isn't it? Um, so yeah, Adios to Vasquez 88. I'm afraid is my prediction for that. Okay, so that concludes the second round draw for the 38th edition of the Tapology Lucky Bastard game. Um, I'll just run through those names quickly one more time. Make sure I am sharing my PowerPoints uh, page. Right, there we go. Okay, so to summarize, we have A like Miles off an AZ or A with Luana Santos, Baron von Rattus with Hydra Emil, Boom Shakalaka with Melsik Baghdadian, Kalfoth with Levan Chokeli, Kanhager Ariz with Carol Rosa, C. Collins 44 with Iron Kutalaba, Chims Mac with Leon Shabazian, D1 D4 K10 with Kevin Borges, Damien Handel 420 with Murtazali Magomedov, Foghorn Sam with Hyder Emil, Grayaman with Melissa Mullins, It's Your Boy SB with Kevin Borges, Jack Soto with Levan Chokeli. Yeah, Jack Soto, yeah, lost. Sorry, got ahead of myself there. Yeah, Jack Soto, Levan Chokeli. Jordan and Pippin with Otari Tanzilovi, KK Kombu with Iron Kutalaba, Knife Rusty with Andre Philly, Love Song with Levan Chokeli, our reigning defending Tapology Lucky Bastard Game champion Shat with Kyoji Horiguchi, the Dirty UFC Man with Andre Philly, the Matchmaker with Carol Rosa, the MMA Historian with Murtazali Magomedov, Trail with Vinicius Oliveira, Trig with Murtazali Magomedov, Trostradamus with Luana Santos, Uber Industry with Kevin Borges, and Vasquez88 with Melissa Mullins. Okay, so it feels like there's been quite a few fighters lumped on individual fighters. So again, I wouldn't be surprised if we end up in another situation where we either have quite a few people go through or quite a few people go out. But I feel like there's probably going to be more going out this time than going through, unfortunately. So I think this could be the wheel extracting its revenge for not eliminating that many people in the first rounds. But MMA is an unpredictable sport. We never know what's going to happen until it happens. And all that leaves me to say is best of luck to you guys and girls out there. And good luck with your picks on Tapology. If you've got any bets on this card, good luck with those. Try win some money from the bookies. And until next time, we'll see how many of you are through. But yeah, until then, so long for now.